Hi, guys. It's Sven from Badass Counseling. So we created the Badass Counseling group on Facebook, and it grew to well over 45,000 members. And we kept getting asked by folks for a support group, a growth group that's more intimate, gives more access to me, Sven, if possible. So the Badass Counseling team got together, and they created Community Plus. For a monthly fee that isn't cheap, you get direct access to me 2 times a month where you can submit your questions directly. Monthly drawings for a small group counseling session with me. Monthly drawings for one-on-one counseling sessions with me. Priority Pass access to go to the front of the waiting list for ongoing counseling with me. Priority Pass access to be considered to be counseled by me on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Direct access to my top 2 selling video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. Interviews with people who've had success in their soul journey, some well-known and some everyday folks like you and me. And a fantastic opportunity to meet and get to know other men and women who take their healing and growth seriously and who do the work. And a social community feed where folks share their challenges, their struggles, and their triumph. And so much more. So go now to badasscounseling.com. Click on the Community Plus sign-up page for premium content and direct access to me and to like-minded people who are committed to healing, growth, and creating a community of support and happiness.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Hello, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show. It's great to have you here joining us for a live taping of a lightning round. I am your host, Sven Erlandson. I am joined in studio by Rob the Rocket sitting next to me and KC over in the booth. Rob, what say ye?
You know how you always say that therapy can be really good as long as you go deep enough?
Yes.
Well, I was talking to a friend who said he'd been in therapy for about 3 years, and this last visit, the therapist said something that brought him to tears.
What did the therapist say?
No hablo inglés.
Yes, that was a very sad day. That was a very sad day.
I guess he hadn't gone deep enough.
Evidently not. Deep into, do you speak my language? Well, whether you are joining us from Queensland or Edmonton, Airdrie, Alberta, or right up the Hudson River from us here in the New York City area, it's great to have you here joining us. We are here to answer folks' questions, and we are live presently. We're doing a bit of a twist for this show. Normally, we are live on YouTube and on Facebook, and normally we're live on TikTok. But we're throwing a bit of a wrench in the equation today. And rather than being live on TikTok, we are live on Instagram. So this is a new one for us. We're taking it for a spin. All right, we've kicked the tires, we got the keys, now we're going for a spin. So we are live on TikTok, recognizing that. I'm actually going to take my first question today off of Instagram, And to those of you writing in, if you can just keep your questions to just a sentence, 2 sentences, that's great. The longer it is, the less likely I am to get it, simply because these questions fly at me so rapidly that I'm trying to scan them very quickly. But the first one comes to me from writing in here on Instagram. Laurel Canyon 1 writes in on Instagram. How do you forgive betrayal? The person does everything they can. They're remorseful, but I still can't forgive. How can I finally find forgiveness? One of the things that I regularly tell people is that this whole idea of forgiveness, we're so conditioned to believe that we have to race to forgiveness as if forgiveness will solve everything. The first question, if you and I were sitting in counseling session right now, the first thing I'd want to ask you is, where is the push for forgiveness coming from? Is it coming from you or is it coming from your partner? And if it's coming from your partner, I have no doubt they want you to forgive. Of course they want you to forgive so they can get it back to normal. So their sense of guilt and you having sort of power over them, because right now you have power over them. You have the power to withhold it. You have the power to be mad at them, withhold forgiveness. You have the power to just not give them, go back to giving them the perks of the relationship. They fucked you over, all right? And so if they're pushing for forgiveness, yeah, of course they are. And your resistance to that is because they're trying to force your hand. They fucked you over one by betraying you, and now they're trying to force your hand to get back into either a power balance, which I doubt it was, but back to where they had the power to extract what they wanted from you. However, if the desire to forgive is coming from you, then it raises the question, if you truly desire to forgive, then why the hell are you so resistant? See, I don't think you actually do want to forgive yet. Okay? And so what I always tell people with regard to forgiveness, and this comes from a man who's a former Lutheran pastor, all right? I'm a former pastor. I've lectured in the field of theology. I've written books in theology. I'm a former clergyman, so I feel somewhat comfortable speaking on the topic of forgiveness, all right? We're sort of in one of my wheelhouses here. I don't have many, but I can talk on this one. There's no urgency to forgiveness. In fact, if you rush forgiveness, you actually short circuit the very process you're trying to create. A breach has been created in the relationship. And when someone hurts us, what happens? We now have a memory that's been created that has all sorts of emotional charges attached to that memory. Think of electrons spinning around a nucleus, emotional charges. And if you don't decharge that memory, it's inside of you. And that's what's being triggered. That's what that feeling of unrest or upset or anger or sadness is inside of you. So if you rush to forgiveness, sure, I forgive you, let's repair the breach in the relationship. They feel better because now they're off the hook. Supposedly, we're back and we're reconnected, but you don't feel better. Why? Because you never decharged that memory. You still have all those emotional charges. So you're saying, I still can't forgive. How can I find forgiveness? What if we were to just focus on, rather than rushing to forgiveness, what if we were to focus on getting all of the feelings, all of the pain and the fears and the hurt out of you first? What I would offer is, and I don't need you to ever confront the person. If you want to, you can. But there's no doubt that you have to get all of those feelings out of you. So if you haven't yet, I'm sure you're talking about it with your therapist. And if you're not, oh gosh. But at the very least, get pen and paper. And I recommend that you start writing letters to your partner, to whoever betrayed you, letters that you do not send. Start writing those letters and you pour out everything, your rage, your hatred, your anger, your sadness, your disappointment, feeling betrayed, all of your feelings, start pouring it out of you. You have to get it out of you because until all of those feelings are out of you, guess where they are? They're still in you. That means you are carrying them around. And if somebody betrays you, breaches your trust, feeling rage towards them, feeling anger is a very natural feeling. Feeling hatred is a very natural feeling. And you say to me, well, I'm not a hater. Yeah, you actually are because you're carrying those feelings around. Once you get them all out of you, you no longer are. So how do you forgive? Again, the goal isn't to forgive right away. If you come to a point later where you want to forgive, that's up to you. But why don't you just start with getting all of the feelings out? And allow yourself to be in this in-between state where you don't have to have any resolution right now. What you need to focus on is healing you by getting all your pain and your hurt and all of the feelings out, and then see where you stand on forgiveness, and then see where you stand on the relationship itself. All right, next question. All right. Bumping over here to Facebook. I've got a bunch of questions flying at me. Here we go. Lisa Ann asks over on Facebook, first off, thank you. I'm getting through your book. I'm trying to dig deep and heal my gut, but I'm struggling. I'm a giver and I am now empty. I've divorced after 33 years and healing from his 3 affairs. How do I finally let go? It makes me sick that he seems to have control over me still. Okay, I want to look first of all at that last sentence. Makes me sick that he has control over me still. What that sentence, in that sentence, control over me, you're fundamentally saying I am a puppet. I am passive. He is active. He is the subject. I am the direct object. Okay. In other words, I just lose myself. I'm a marionette on strings. No, you are choosing to give him control over you, which tells me there's either something you still want from him or there is something you fear if you don't have him. All right. And I'm willing to bet it's both. And so let's back up. You say divorced after 33 years and healing from his 3 affairs. Now, just like I was just talking about with Laurel Canyon over here on Instagram, If you've been cheated on 3 times, you have so much hurt and pain and betrayal and rage and fucking hatred inside of you. All of those would be natural responses. I feel that, Lisa Ann, towards your ex. I feel it for him cheating on you 3 times. And those are the 3 you know about. I hate the guy just for fucking doing it. It's like, why'd you have to be a dick? And even if he were to say, well, I was unhappy in the marriage and she wasn't putting out and she was disconnected and she was a bitch. And even if all the things were true, guess what? There's a big basket of options that he could have reached into and he could have pulled up because there are plenty of other people that go through that exact same shit. Just listen to our podcast over the last 3.5 years. We get that shit all the time. And there are plenty of husbands, plenty of wives who reach into the basket of options and they could pull out, go to therapy. They could pull out, confront my spouse and have deep conversations. They could pull out the option of, take a separation for 6 months and just clear my head and spend the time, meditating. There's the option of divorce her first, but no, you pulled out the option. I'm going to have 3 affairs. Really? So you're saying she did all these things, so I had to cheat. No, plenty of other people go through those exact same things or worse, and they pull out other options. But you act as if A, then B, I have to cheat. She did this, so I have to cheat. Bullshit. Your husband just didn't want to fucking do the work. He didn't want to give you the grace of divorcing you first. He chose dickhead route. And so now you're saying, how do I finally let go? Do you want to know what's keeping you holding on? Ultimately, what keeps us holding on to a person is one of 2 things. It's either hurt or love. So it's either feelings of sadness and anger and rage, or it's, I miss you, I love you, I want you back. You guys have heard me talk about after my second marriage. It was a year later and I divorced her and I hadn't let go. I couldn't move on yet. And I realized, shit, it's my feelings. It's not the anger and the disappointment of what we could have had. It was the fact that I still loved her that was keeping me looped into her. That I still loved her. And so I had to get down and I had to start writing her letters that I did not send, pouring out all my love. Jennifer, that wasn't her name, but Jennifer, I still love you. I miss you. I long for you. Your gorgeous legs, your beautiful face. You want to hear something stupid? I'd come in the morning to shave and she'd be going wee-wee on the potty. And she was so cute. Her hair was tousled from bed and it was just cute. Some people don't want to be seen. She didn't have any shame on that. And she was just the cutest thing when she'd be going pee-pee. Anyway, it's just those things. And I had to flush out all my feelings regarding her. And then I was able to let go. It was my love. It was all of the feelings that I felt that keep us holding on and so the trick to letting go is to hold on as tightly as possible. To embrace all those feelings while you are flushing them out. And the more you embrace them and allow yourself, welcome them up from inside of you, allow them to come up and provide them a point of exit through the journaling and through writing letters, the faster they pass. I guarantee it, Lisa Ann. All right. We had a listener write in. We get lots of listeners write in on different podcast sites, whether it's Spotify or Audible or what are the other ones, Rob, where folks will write into the show?
All the podcast sites give the opportunity.
Okay. So we had someone write in and a listener wrote in with this comment and question. Hi, Sven. My husband and I have had a pretty tumultuous 2 years in our marriage. We both read your book and have been doing all the work of journaling. I'm feeling stuck because while we're trying to work things out and move forward, the journaling is bringing out a lot of anger towards him and things that have been said and done. Do I keep journaling until I find clarity? It feels like I'm feeling more of a push away from the relationship than towards it, and it's scary. Exactly. So this is what we're just talking about, okay? Lisa Ann, with regard to you, all right? And is that we have to bring up the feelings. So this person is saying, I brought up the feelings and holy shit, all my anger is kind of coming up. Yeah, no shit. It's all the anger that you've been packing down all this time. And I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying, yeah, once you start allowing this stuff to come up, you're finally living authentically. You're finally allowing yourself to have the feelings that at some point in your life you were conditioned to believe you're not allowed to have. So here you are having these feelings and it's like, whoa, you're pissing me off, dude. Now, let me ask you this question. Have you ever had a friend, I mean like a really close friend? Maybe it was when you were teenagers or maybe it was in your 20s or whatever, Or maybe it's been, if you're older, maybe it was in your 40s, you guys, and you had a blowout. Now, if you have a really close friend, you've probably had your share of blowouts with that friend, right? Where it's like, fuck you, or it's like, no, you disappointed me, and blah, blah, blah. And you tell the truth and you put it all out there and you're feeling such strong feelings of animus towards the other person, or anger, or disappointment, or whatever it is. And then what happens? Well, if it's a really good friendship, you care. And then both of you sort of come down from it and you talk it out. And you talk it out some more and you talk it out. And you realize you love each other and you go back to loving each other. Okay. So whether you and your husband go back to loving each other isn't the point. The point is this doesn't have to be the final destination. It's like you're disturbed that it's bringing up a lot of anger and things that have been said and done. And you're saying, should I abort the journaling or should I keep journaling? It's because it's like, I'm shocked. It's almost like you're saying, I don't want to journal because it's making me feel all these feelings. Yeah, no shit. All the feelings that have always been there down deep inside, it's just like now you're feeling honest with yourself. Now, the real question is what's going to happen inside of you once the feelings pass, once you flush them all out? And that was your question. Do I keep journaling until I find clarity? Yeah. You keep journaling until all the feelings are out of you and you'll have more peace inside of you. And inside of that peace is clarity. Peace and clarity go together. So the more you just keep flushing that out, the greater your clarity will become. Yes, but you have to understand, folks, the more you allow up your authentic feelings, the more charged up you're going to feel, and it's going to feel hard. And this is why a lot of people don't want to do therapy. They feel like, shit, it would overwhelm me if I went into all those feelings. Yes, it will. But the way you alleviate that overwhelmness is you begin to give it a point of exit. That's why we talk things out in therapy. That's why we journal. That's why we write letters that we don't send. I mean, think about it. It's like a pot on your stove, all right? And you have water in there. And let's say you're boiling potatoes, all right? I boiled some cubed potatoes the other day to add to my clam chowder to thicken it up a bit, all right? And I put a lid on there. Well, now if I turn up that heat, what's going to happen? That water's going to boil, and it could boil over, right? And we're afraid of all those feelings boiling inside of us. We're afraid of allowing them up. We're afraid of going into therapy. I don't want to touch that stuff. It's too scary. It's too painful. But dude, this is how we get it out. You have to allow it up first, and you're going to feel all those feelings. But this is the phase one. Phase two is getting it out. All right, next question. Vintage Michelle on Instagram asks, best short phrase to forget an ex that I shouldn't care about anymore? It sounds like you're asking for a mantra. The question again is, basically, what's the best short phrase to forget an ex that I shouldn't care about anymore? Well, first of all, the fact that you say shouldn't care about says you do care about it. That's an admission. You care about the person. And I take admission and the fact that you're trying to forget about someone tells me you still love the person or like the person or want the person. This is exactly what I was talking about literally just a couple of minutes ago. And that is what you need to do is not try to find a mantra that you can just focus on to try to forget them. No, because you're never getting the person out of you. You're just trying to distract yourself from your truth. And the truth is you have feelings of love or longing or lust or like inside of you for this person, feelings of connection or wanting this person. So why not acknowledge the feelings rather than trying to run away from those feelings? Why not welcome them up and flush them out and keep welcoming them until they are done? How about journaling? How about writing that person immense love letters and pouring out all your feelings and keep doing it until it's done? And I'm telling you, it will be done. And this is what it means to hold on tighter. The key to letting go is to hold on tighter, and to hold on and to hold on and to hold on and bring up all those feelings and flush them, bring them up, flush them until your grip gets tired and you naturally let go. Because right now you're trying to force yourself to let go. Laura Bell asked the question, Mr. Sven, was it the version of you that you missed and appreciated? Presumably this is in response to when I was talking about my second wife and how I missed her a year after the marriage. No, in all honesty, no, because after the marriage, I divorced her because I realized that the relationship, she was a terrific person and I liked me, but our chemistry didn't work. We just fought too much. And so I divorced her, and I was still holding on to her, not because of I missed myself, because I felt like I was evolving into a new and fuller version of myself. So I actually thought I liked the new me even better than that one. And I knew that that would increase because I had already been through one divorce, and who I had become for my second marriage was a completely different person from my first marriage. So I knew that evolution would continue. No, in that particular case for me, I missed the person. She was a fantastic person, really. And we haven't had contact, and it's been, God, 25 years, 20 years. But really a fantastic person, just live wire and beautiful, sensationally beautiful. She danced in Broadway shows, shit like that. But a really gregarious person. But our chemistry it didn't work. There was nothing wrong with her, or I'd like to think wrong with me. We just didn't click. And it was a tragedy, really. All right, much more to come right after this short break.
You know, I've read so many self-help books, and I always get something good out of them. But when I dove into There's a Hole in My Love Cup, well, it changed me. I cannot recommend this book highly enough. My copy is very dog-eared and highlighted. Thanks, Sven, for writing it. I love There's a Hole in My Love Cup, and believe you will also. Order your copy at badasscounseling.com.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
And we are back with the Badass Counseling Show. We're getting questions coming in on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Great episode. Lots of good questions coming at us here. I've got one here on Instagram I just want to handle very, very quickly just to help, because this is the first time we've ever gone live on Instagram. Normally we're over on TikTok. And I wanted to just go with something new because we have such a strong following on Instagram that continues to grow. It's actually one of the platforms where we're presently growing fastest. Nully Break 2. I want to answer your question by helping you understand a little better what I'm doing here. You asked the question, how do I communicate and support a lady I'm seeing who has BPD? It's quiet borderline personality disorder a lot, if mixed signals and white and black think, etc. One of the things that I tell people right off is I'm not a psychologist. I am not a licensed medical professional at all. I am a soul counselor. And so what that means for the purposes of my show, as well as my counseling, I make that very, very clear. I plaster it all over my website that what I do is soul counseling. And I've been doing it for approaching 35 years. And so what I am, what that means is I don't take any sort of medical language or psychological language on my show at all. I stay in my lane. And I guess the corollary, recognizing that psychology has been in practice for about 150 years, actually probably slightly less. Prior to that, who did people go to for counseling? Who did people go to for help with their inner problems? Well, they would go to their clergyman, their rabbi. They would go to the shaman, the medicine man, the wise old woman, that sort of thing. And I have a long history of that in my bloodline, going way, 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 way back. As I said on a previous show, my grandmother, my mother's mother, was the wise old woman brought onto the reservation of the Minnewacanton Sioux and the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe when she was in her 70s or into her early 80s. And she lived on a Jewish Christian commune in her mid-80s. So I have a history of wise old women and clergymen and so forth. And so my background as a former clergyman, but my background is more this sort of who would you go to if you had a sort of an old person in your bloodline or a friend that you would go to who had a lot of experience and maybe gave a few good pieces of advice. That's what I'm giving here. I call it soul counseling. So I'm happy to answer your question, Nully Break, if you were to put it into some language other than the psychological language. Just wanted to clear that up for everyone. I'm here to help. Just if you can just scrape out all the psychological language and just put it in normal language, as if you were talking to your friend, that would be super duper terrific. And I'm happy to answer your questions. All right, next question. All right, here we go. Max Coring over on Facebook says, separated from a love bomber for 3 years and I feel addicted to her affection. After I hit fuck it, I still miss her. Do I divorce when I'm not ready? Okay, so you're separated. You're married, obviously, but separated from a love bomber for 3 years, and I feel addicted to her affection. After I hit the fuck it point, I still miss her. Do I divorce when I'm not ready? So you're flat out admitting you're not ready to divorce. So then my question would be, why would you divorce? You're not ready. You openly admitted. Why not just wait until you're ready? Why force action? I tell my clients all the time, I will never push them, cajole them, motivate them, coax them to take any action whatsoever. If it's requiring any energy from me to take an action, we're forcing it. I don't believe in forced action. I believe in inspired action. And my job simply is to get all your crud out of you such that when you are taking an action, if you choose to take an action, it is coming from within and it is inspired and it feels right. It might still be scary, scare the fuck out of you. It might still be hard, but it feels right. All right. So Max asks, I'm separated from a love bomber for 3 years and I feel addicted to her affection. My question, Max, is when did the love bombing stop? I'm actually putting up a video in the next day or two on love bombing specifically that helps you better understand that. But you said you're addicted to her love bombing, addicted to her affection. You still miss her, of course. Why wouldn't you? To have someone convey so strongly that they love you, that they care about you, of course you miss that. And so you're saying, do I divorce when I'm not ready? No, Max. I mean, you do whatever the hell you want. You're a grown-ass man. Do whatever the fuck you want. But if you're asking for my opinion, which you obviously just did, no, you wait. Why? Because you're still connected, which means if you try to walk away from someone that you're not ready to walk away from, bang, you're going to just rubber band right back. So what do you need to do? With the thing I've already said now 2 or 3 times to other people, you got to start flushing out all those fucking feelings of that addiction you talk about. Of all that love, that longing, you long for her. You miss the fuck out of her. You probably lust for her. You got to put all this in writing, Daddy-O. Get a fucking pen and piece of paper. You just do bullet points. If you don't want to write her a letter, or write her a letter, or journal about it, whatever it is, start flushing it the fuck out of you, dude, because that's what's keeping you stuck. You are so linked into her because you got all these feelings inside of you, folks. Folks, it's not our principles and our thoughts that keep us hooked into something or to someone. It's the feelings. There's nothing that will cloud your judgment more than your feelings. There's nothing that will cause you to make bad decisions more or keep you stuck in the past more than your feelings. And it's not a bad thing. You're not a bad person. It's just that if you desire to move forward, which Max clearly does, and he doesn't, you have to get the feelings out. Otherwise, you're forever fighting yourself. It's like you have 1 foot on the accelerator and 1 foot on the brake. What's fascinating is that you even asked the question, Max, do I divorce when I'm not ready? That implies that a part of you wants to divorce. Otherwise, why would you even be considering it? So you should be journaling about that. Why do I even want to divorce her? Right? You don't even give the reasons you want to divorce her, but obviously there are reasons. Right? And the truth is, you can hang on. You don't have to divorce her. You can hang on as long as you want. But I guarantee you, your pain will get worse. And the truth is, you haven't hit the fuck it point yet. In my book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, I talk about the fuck it point. And the fuck it point is when your pain has finally gotten so bad that you know exactly what you want to do and you finally have the courage to do it, but you don't know exactly what you want to do. You don't have the clarity yet, which means you can still endure more pain. And your pain will get worse, Max. Go into it. Start flushing out your real feelings that you feel towards her and don't stop. And I know you're maybe tentative to feel all those feelings, but that's what you got to do, Daddy-O. All right, I've got Dan Henry over there on Facebook saying hello. Hi, Dan. Good to see you, old friend. A very old friend. All right. This is a great question, Rob. You're going to love this one. Rob, in fact, I'm going to let Rob the Rocket, who does all technical production, runs the show, gets it all ready, gussied up for air. I'm going to let Rob take this question. I open with the answer, whatever he wants to. Jeannie Hash on Facebook asks the question, Rob?
Yes.
How do you get the cheater to be honest? He giggles. He giggles.
Wow. The cheater will not be honest. The only way to find out the truth is to find it out yourself.
Very good. Rob says there's no way to get him to be honest. You know, if you want to know, you got to find out yourself, which means you're going to go on a fucking treasure hunt, right?
Hardly a treasure.
Right, right. But a part of you you'll have unrest until you know, Jeannie, right? That's why the mere fact that you're wanting the cheater to be honest says that you are feeling something. You're sensing that they are not being honest. Right. In other words, you sense that they are fucking lying to you. They are withholding truth, which means you don't trust them. He is likely saying to you, no, I've told you everything. No, that's it. There's nothing to see here, folks. Keep moving. Nothing to see here. And you're like, fucking bullshit. I know there is. And that's how you know when someone has told you the truth. You can feel it. When someone has told you the full truth, they are a wet rag. They are spent. They are wiped out. If somebody truly put all the truth in front of you, you would feel it. You would know that they have nothing else there. How do you get them to be honest? There is one piece of leverage that you likely have, Jeannie. The one piece of leverage that a cheater most fears in all likelihood, I'm going to assume you're married to this person, Jeannie, and I'm going to assume it's your husband, and you can't get your husband to tell you the truth. And yet, the mere fact that you are still in conversation with this cheater says that a part of you is struggling with, should I stay or should I go? And I'm betting your cheater wants you to stay, which implies what's your leverage? Well, your leverage is they want something from you. They want you to stay. So why not exercise your point of leverage? That is to say, but you can only do this. You can't bluff this. You can only do this if you are actually ready to pull it off. Start walking away. Actually fucking walk away. And once you have them in that sweet spot, no, don't walk, don't leave. Then tell me the fucking truth. Then keep them right there in that sweet spot. And just keep walking away. And see what they fucking tell you. But once you start going back, the spigot will go dry and they won't share one more fucking piece because they know they got your throat right under their boot. But you can't make someone be honest. If they don't want to fucking withhold it, they're not going to fucking withhold it. But I tell you what makes people fucking narcissists stop being narcissistic. There's only one thing, and it's not always you that can do it. And one thing that has a chance of getting a cheater to open up, there's only one thing, and it's pain. And it's the pain of loss. But it may not be you they are afraid of losing. All right, next question.
Sven, that's really good advice, because the other thing you can do is hire a detective, hack into his phone, put a tracker on the car. But if you're at the point where you're going to do that, you should walk away anyway and see how it goes.
That's right. That's right.
Because it'll make you crazy.
Yep. Oh, for sure. It'll drive you nuts. And eventually, that's another thing I hear regularly from clients that, you dive in, you're looking for more information, you're finding out pieces and you're, tracking their phone or you're, tracking their car or you're, going over and parking outside their apartment or whatever, all this stuff. And eventually you do that long enough and you realize this is fucking sucking the life out of me. It's like I'm getting sucked into like year 23 of General Hospital. It's like, oh, mother of Christ, I got to have a fucking life here. Right?
Exactly.
Exactly. And there are only 43 more seasons of General Hospital to go. Right. In other words, yeesh, I got to stop this for my own sake. All right. Here we go. This is from Paracella Dog Training on Instagram. Hey, brother. Wondering what advice you have on parental alienation. Fought in court for 4 years, made it worse. Psychologists made it worse. Child is almost 18 and I have now completely backed off. Okay, and I guess the question I would have is, so what are you wondering? You've chosen to back off, and I get that position. I have actually been that for a very, very long time. I was that for a very, very long time with my kids. There was parental alienation. My ex was pouring poison into my kids' ears since they were very, very young, like before they were even preteen. So they were still real young kids. And that affected it. And I backed off. She was applying the heat and all this shit. And, particular alienation, getting a Father's Day card that says, thanks for the DNA, shit like that. To which I would issue a salty reply in the mail. Well, which DNA specifically are you thankful for? No response to that. But the point is this. It hurts. You are hurting right now, Paracella Dog Training. You are hurting because your child is 18 and you've completely backed off. But the question is, you say everything made it worse. The courts and the psychologists and everything made it worse, and you've backed off. I would want to know why you have backed off. You have backed off. You said that. You didn't say your child had backed off. And now if you need to back off, and there's no judgment. I'm not judging you. I'm not scolding you, putting you down. You've done what you felt you had to do. I backed off because I felt I had to, and I was feeling pressured as well. And I was worn out, to be very honest with you. Shitty excuse, but it was. And it wasn't an excuse. It was just how I felt. Truth is this: pull back, lick your wounds, do the work of flushing out all your pain and all your feelings and all your frustrations and all your fucking rage. And I mean journaling, writing letters that you don't send. Flush, flush, flush. And then if it feels right to you, my recommendation, go back in. Reconnect with your child. Why? Your child needs you now more than ever. With the divorce, they need you now. They need to know that you still give a shit. They need to know that that divorce wasn't the worst thing that happened to them because, gee, I lost my father, lost my mother, whatever it is. You need to go back in and say, I am here. I am present. I am your parent. I love you. And that is not changing, and I am not going anywhere. So by you choosing to back off, you are saying to the child, the underlying message the child is receiving is, I don't love you anymore. My parent doesn't love me anymore. I'm not important. They translate your action into their worth. And I know you don't want that for your child. That means you have to keep trying. Now, if they choose to push you out of their life, that's a different issue. But you didn't say that. You said, I have completely backed off. And you need to short circuit that process. Heal yourself as you're doing it. Flush out all your own pain and rage and frustration while you are going back into your child's life. And to begin to establish a relationship again and deepen that relationship, conveying, I am here for you. I exist to pour love into your love cup. I'm good. Don't worry about me. I'm here for you. That's what your 18-year-old needs. All right, next question. Here we go. This is one from K. Schreiner Griswold over on Facebook. How often do you see the daughters of the cheater dad then attract the same type of man as their partner? I recognize that their daddy was the daughter's first boyfriend model, but even though they saw the bad characteristics, it's showing up as the next generation couple. Yeah. Even though they saw the bad characteristics, that's right. In other words, Kay seems rather surprised that their own children, even though they saw their dad do it and sort of recognized it as bad, presumably, that the daughter of the dad who was a cheater, the daughter is repeating this, or is attracting a man who is repeating it. Right. Now, this is the really tricky shit here, folks. This is why I tell people, for instance, I have a highly controversial video. It went up on all social media. I put it up about a year ago on divorce. And if a couple knows they're going to divorce and they have young children and they know they're going to divorce and they're just trying to decide, should we divorce now or should we divorce later? I always tell them divorce now. Sooner the better. Why? Well, there's so many reasons. One, your children will far more likely to get their pain out of them when they are 4 or 6 or 9 than they are if they are 18, 20, and 24, right? They'll lock it down. Then they'll say, oh, I got it. It's no big deal, blah, blah, blah. And that's the worst thing possible. Furthermore, when they're young, they'll have ritual and so forth around them. They'll be surrounded by company and love. But most importantly, when they are young, if you stay together, and this is how it applies to this situation. I'll come back to your question specifically, Kay. But when you are young, you are modeling for your children what love is. You are conveying messages to them about their worth, their sense of value, but also this is what a marriage is. This is what love looks like. This is what relationships look like. This is what you should do when you're older. So bringing it back to Kay. Kay says, how often, Sven, do you see the daughter of the cheater, dad, then attract that same type of man as their partner? I recognize that their daddy was their daughter's first boyfriend model, but even though they saw the bad characteristics, it's showing up as the next generation couple. Yeah, exactly, because this is what was modeled for them. And whether they see it as bad or good almost isn't the point. Do you know what it's imprinted as? Normal. Normal is more powerful than good or bad. And your daughter is likely still young, 20s, maybe 30s? So your daughter has not done the deep inner work yet to extract, begin to identify the bullshit messages she was taught about herself. And see, this is the other piece. Somewhere in her upbringing, she was taught messages by mom and by dad about her own sense of worth. And so if you are not just attracting, but in fact staying with a man who cheats on you, which is what you're fundamentally saying, that your daughter's boyfriend or husband is cheating on her, what it's fundamentally saying is if she is staying in that, then she has been conditioned to believe that she's not worth it. She's holding on to someone because at least I have someone, even though they treat me like shit, because what's the alternative? Not having anyone. And when I don't have someone, then I am alone. And all those messages about my own sense of worth that I was taught back in childhood. I'm not good enough. See, I'm unlovable. See, I'm unwanted. See, I'm unwantable. See, who I really am doesn't matter. I'm too much. Whatever it is, all those messages come storming back up into her head and they attack her. So what is playing out in your daughter's head are the core beliefs she was taught to believe about herself, which is why I wrote the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, to help people begin to heal from those core beliefs, extract those core beliefs. And yes, it makes total sense that she grew up in that. And it's not whether or not she saw it as bad. It's one, what did she see as normal? But most importantly, what was she taught about herself? And it's not always the stuff that came out of mom and dad's mouths. It's the underlying messages she was taught to believe, the core beliefs she was taught to believe about herself. That is what does the most damage, and that is what creates the very relationships that they have later as adults. And worse, that is what drives every decision they make as a parent. How about that? How many questions do I have time for, Rob?
One or two, I'd say.
All right. I'm going to take one or two more questions per Rob's timing. I did not have my timer on. Paracel got back and said, Paracella Dog Training says, child refused to speak, refuses visits, false accusations. I assume that's the one that you said that you have stepped away from, nothing but hate and venom and being ignored. Then step away. Step away. And I got a lot of that myself. And if that's what you need to do, step away. That's okay. But then you also need to be flushing out all of your feelings. If you're getting that from your 18-year-old, flushing out all of your pain and all of your anger and all of your rage and all of your disappointment and your heartbreak of not being close to your child. And it hurts to get that stuff. And I have gotten that stuff. So I know what you're going through. I've lived it. And just step away and allow the child to have room. You have to understand you're dealing with an 18-year-old. Okay. And what is 18 is not the same as what is 35. And when we divorced, when my kids were about 6 and 3, I knew, as crazy as this sounds, even in my 20s, if I could just make it until my kids were in their mid-30s, I knew that they would see life as adults. And whether or not I even remembered all my stories, I knew I'd be vindicated just because she would reveal herself, my ex, and my kids would see the good person that I am. And sure enough, it happened. It happened sooner than 35. Happened in their 20s, but now that they're in their 30s, we are so close. All right? But it started happening way back in their 20s. And so what you're experiencing now isn't permanent, but you have to continue to flush out all of your own pain and frustration and rage and anger. I'm going to take one more question, and then we are going to call it a day.
Got one here if you want.
And to answer you, Kathy, I'll take that one, Rob. Kathy asks on Facebook, at what age should a person begin reading the book? Is teenager too early? No, it's not. I actually have teens that write in. I have teens who are either reading or listening to both There's a Hole in My Love Cup and Badass Wisdom, which is a 366-day daily inspirational book. And so it's not too early. My mom had me journaling when I was 13. And so these sorts of books I would have totally been into. If you're unsure, start them on the light one, Badass Wisdom. But if you feel like they're ready for a deep dive, like they are already in touch with their emotions and shit like that, go right for There's a Hole in My Love Cup. But those are the tools. Rob, give me the last question of the day.
All right, then, Sven. On YouTube, Carrie07H says, how do I continue my current good relationship with both my parents while healing my past and all the damage they've caused? I don't want to confront them. I just want to heal the damage.
Yeah, Carrie's asking how to not confront the parents, yet keep healing your past and all the stuff inside of her. When bringing up all that stuff from the past is bringing up all sorts of feelings, and it's strong feelings of animus and sad and frustration and anger towards your parents, but you don't want to confront them. and you don't want to disrupt the relationship with your parents. A couple of things. One, let all those feelings come up. They're not permanent. Remember, people, feelings, first of all, are morally neutral. They are neither good nor bad inherently. If what action you take from it, if you take any, that's where the moral component comes in. But feelings are morally neutral. They're just a response to stimulus. And the trajectory of a feeling is it comes up and then it goes out. That's why we use the word express for your feelings. Express. What does that mean? Ex in Latin. Ex means out. Exit comes from the two Latin words itera. It is itera, to go. Ex means out. Express. Ex means out. Press means to push. The natural trajectory of a feeling is to push outward. But what do people do? They say, no, feeling's bad. Oh, I'll give you something to cry about. Oh, big boys don't cry. Be tough. Don't be a pussy, all that shit. And so we keep our feelings down. Dumb. Because it's just the body's natural response. All right. So what you're saying, Carrie, is I'm finally bringing up, allowing myself to feel all these feelings that I have towards my parents regarding all this shit from the past. And as a result of this, it's kind of making me mad at them. But I have a good relationship with my parents. Yeah, great. Keep the relationship. I always tell my clients, I don't need you to confront your parents or your uncle or whoever raised you or your brothers or your kids. I don't need you to confront anyone in order for me to heal you. Okay? You don't have to confront anyone. You can have whatever fucking relationship with your parents you want. I don't give a shit. But what you do need to do is bring all these feelings up. That's phase one, remember. And if you just allow them to sit right here inside of you as you're bringing them up, oh yeah, then you do have problems in your life, both internally and it's going to affect your relationships and it's going to impact that relationship with your parents. But if you are constantly, as those feelings are up, constantly flushing out, journaling, writing letters, talking to your therapist, not just, physical exercise. Oh, I went for a run. I got it out physically. No, you can't get it out physically. It requires words. And as long as you keep flushing, eventually, guess what? It's all going to go. It's all going to be gone. Why? Because feelings, as well as the core beliefs that you were engendered with, and that's where you really do need the tools, by the way. But those feelings, they have a half-life. They're not infinite. They don't last forever. They'll last forever if you hold them in, but as long as you flush them out, they'll eventually fade. And then your relationship with your parents won't be affected if you don't want it to. What that relationship with your parents is, it's whatever you fucking choose. But the way to have it affected less, if you want to keep that as sort of sacred, is to just flush out the feelings as you're feeling them. But yeah, then you've got to really be honest. But you're going to have to be honest with you at some point, Carrie. And the real honest question that you have to ask yourself is, what are you still wanting from your parents? Because I'm betting you still want something. The reason you don't want to jeopardize that relationship with your parents, I think, is because deep down you still want something. And I'm willing to bet you want this relationship because somewhere along the lines you are still hoping, and I could be totally fucked in the head. So I could be fakakta, tell me to go stick it in my ear. But I'm willing to bet you want something from them, from this relationship. Love, something deep down, what you're probably wanting is confirmation of your worth that you haven't gotten, or potentially acknowledgement of all they've done to you. But somewhere in there is confirmation of your worth, that you matter, you are good. And you're likely still wanting it because you didn't get it in your past. And so you think, boy, if I do anything that might disrupt this relationship, I might never get that confirmation of my worth. But they were the ones that in fact stole your worth in the first place. And therefore you believe they're the ones who can confirm it. So you don't want to disrupt the relationship. But if I got that confirmation of worth, then I could have peace. Then I could finally be myself. Then I could be confident. Then I could finally be happy. So you believe you're in a jail cell and they and only they have a key. And I'm saying that isn't the case. Just keep flushing out all the feelings and drill down to those core beliefs. And I guarantee you will be able to find healing, whether they ever confirm your worth or not. And I'm willing to bet they won't. In fact, I'd bet all my money if Vegas would let me bet on it. But anyway, folks, that is the show. Thank you so much. Rob, any final thoughts?
Carrie said, yes, exactly, which that's my final thought also. Yes, exactly.
Well, sometimes you get lucky, folks. Rob, you getting lucky today?
kind of late. Probably not.
No? Okay. All right. Well, folks, this has been lovely. It's been a great episode of the Badass Counseling Show. So many good questions. I would say we have had a wonderful experience bringing in bringing in Instagram. We did not go live on TikTok. This is the first time ever. We went live on Instagram, and it's been great having everyone here for a live taping of the Badass Counseling Show podcast, lightning round, taking your questions. This has been great. We've had so many great questions here on this episode. I want to thank everyone for their great questions and some really in-depth, insightful stuff, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that's it, folks. This has been great. Thank you so much for checking in to the Badass Counseling Show. On behalf of my team, Rob the Rocket and KC in the booth, I am Sven Erlandson, your host, the Badass Counselor. Have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.